Welcome to episode 13 of the Ringo Report. I'm your host, Brandon Ringo. Thank you so much for joining me. So this weekend in Central Arkansas, it's going to be very interesting because there's going to be a lot of tourism in town because of an eclipse that's happening on Monday. So there's a lot of with the influx of people coming. There's a lot of things to do. So my goal is to sort of break it down and give you an idea of what's going on this weekend. The first thing I like to do is go ahead and go to a show calendar. Tonight, happening at the Whitewater Tavern, it's going to be a show featuring Ken and Company, Jacob Perez, and House Treehouse. Also at the Sterling Market, Gauze and Katsu are going to be playing. So it's going to be a fun little show. Friday night at Vino's, it's going to be a show featuring the Weeping Gate, Lilac Kings, Threat, and A Trader's Funeral. Also, Melissa Carper is going to be playing at the Whitewater Tavern. And Ian Munsick and Megan Patrick are going to be performing at the Hall. Also happening in Hot Springs that weekend is this really cool site called Atlas Obscura. Is kind of partnering with this festival, Hot Springs, called Valley of the Vapors. And they're doing a really cool Eclipse Festival that starts also on Friday. It's going to feature bands like Blonde Redhead and Fred Armisen, Ted Leo and the Pharmacists, Deerhoof, and a whole bunch of really cool stuff. So it's going to be happening. Another cool festival that's going to be happening this weekend that starts on Friday is the Ron Coleman Eclipse Festival. That's going to be happening in Jesseville. That's going to feature bands like Census, Prop Hunter, Jupiter's Flytrap, the Chris Baker Band, City Gray, and many, many more really, really awesome and talented Arkansas musicians. So a really, really cool show that I've been looking forward to for a while that's happening on Saturday is going to be at Vino's. It's going to be the My Hands Toward Ursula Kingdom record release. So they're going to have they're going to be playing the album. They're going to be playing some other of theirs, another set of their music. Also, Cord and Jocks is going to be there. It's going to be a really, really fun and special night for those guys. Another cool show that's happening Friday night, Saturday night is Incompleteness Theorem, Head Empty, and Michael Sarah Palin are going to be playing at Sour House. If you don't know what Sour House is, ask a punk. So one thing that's going to also be happening that day that's going to be early, and it's a really neat event. It's going to be basically a punk show happening on the grounds of the old State House. It's kind of for those who've seen all these flyers from their friends' bands or whatever, but don't actually know who some of these bands are. This is a really cool sampler opportunity. Peach Blush, Zilla, Chain Snatcher, Skulls of the Americas, and LRM. These are all bands that are going to be playing at the State House, and these are all bands that you can see open most heavy music show. A lot of them are opening like heavy shows that come through town, and so they need your support. In order for these cool tours to keep coming. And so this is a great way to do that. Another really cool show happening on Saturday is Will Johnson is going to be performing at the Whitewater Tavern. Will Johnson is really, really special, and so that show is going to be cool as well. That'll be happening later that night. Sunday, another really important artist in Central Arkansas is going to be doing an EP release show. The Espionage Act is going to be releasing their new EP. It's going to be a really special show with Second Life, who is a wonderful band, one of my favorite, if you would say hardcore bands in town or whatever. They're just, they're so awesome. And so also the Storyline is going to be coming, as well as Hollowake. So that's a really cool show that's going to be happening at Vino's. Also happening Saturday, Uniwa is going to be performing at Maxine in Hot Springs. Uniwa is someone that gets millions and millions of plays on his Spotify and stuff, and just is a super extremely talented musician. And he definitely deserves the support for what he's been working on. Also happening at EJ's in downtown Little Rock on Sunday, Sean Pratt, Tom Bartolome, and Piecemeal Pact are going to be performing. Now, on Monday is the actual day of the solar eclipse. It's when things are supposed to be the craziest, and the Heathen House is going to be out in Court, Arkansas. It's going to be hosting an eclipse event that's going to have live music. There's a really cool tree house that you can hang out in. There's a lot of great ways to watch the eclipse. This is one that I think is definitely, if you're just looking for something cool to do in a cool place, definitely check out the Heathen House and give their event a chance. Now, happening on that Tuesday, this coming Tuesday in Little Rock at Vino's, Pursuit and Necrotisk, a couple of really cool touring death doom extreme metal bands from the Midwest, are going to be coming through, and they're going to be playing with Little Rock Massacre. That's going to be a really fun show. I actually got to do interviews with both Pursuit and Necrotisk, and those guys are really cool, and so that show is going to be super fun. And then, so that's the show calendar. There's a lot of really fun stuff that's going to be happening this week. Now, in addition to all the cool shows that are happening in the area, there's also been some really exciting announcements of shows. One that was announced recently is Exhumed is going to be bringing their Decayed Decades tour to the Whitewater Tavern on June 5th. It's going to be that tour is going to feature Skeletal Remains, Morbicon, and Pantheon. And it's going to be this is going to be a really cool night because Morbicon has members of Municipal Waste. Exhumed, they've got original members, Matt Harvey and Ross Sewage, and they're only going to be playing stuff from their first 3 records, and there's three records are just an absolute masterclass in gore grind. So Skeletal Remains is just extremely brutal and just so sick. Like I said, Morbicon's got Dave Wade on it. And he has a drummer. God, if you think about the people that are going to be in the building that night at Whitewater, you should buy your tickets because it's going to be a banger. Banger. Oh, speaking of bangers, another piece of information that was released this week. I had previously reported on this about Bangin' the Rock Fest was going to be changing dates. And to this, recently they announced that they will be. Bangin' on the Rock Fest is going to be on September 27th and 28th. Now, what bands are going to be playing it? Who knows? With those guys, there's really no telling because the stuff they've been bringing this year, it's very exciting to see they've been doing these Bangin' on the Rock Presents. So they've already booked bands like Negative Approach and Drain and Terror and Obituary and Kubla Khan, and so they've already booked up so much cool stuff. So there's no telling what Bangin' the Rock Fest is going to be like this year, and I'm very excited about it. Another really cool hardcore, the show that got announced for July 28th at Vino's, is going to be Backbiter, Place Blame, Chained, Mazenko, and Open Casket. This is going to be definitely an ass beater show for people that like to swing on their friends. And so, yeah. Also, speaking of Pantheon, I mentioned them earlier. Another really, really cool announcement is they announced that recently they're going to be doing a tour in August with Flesh Hoarder, this really badass death metal band from Texas. This is cool because Flesh Hoarder last year they went on tour, a very long tour with Pantera and Lamb of God and stuff, and so I think it's really neat that BJ and Pantheon are able to. BJ told me he booked the whole tour himself, which is mind blowing, and I think it's very cool. So in addition to those shows that have been announced, there's also been some new music that's been released lately. There's been a lot of really cool Central Arkansas bands have been dropping music of a variety of genres, actually. So some that have come out just in the last handful of weeks. Buckshot Princess just dropped a new song called Bad Luck Lady. I have already talked about that band on this a lot because they're very important to me. I think they're so talented. Literally every member is extremely talented and special, and I'm just lucky I get to be friends with those guys. Also, another really cool band, super lately, Youngblood Upstarts. This is a big deal. Through Blood released a new song called No Discretion. I think Through Blood is really cool because it's a band that, like, their story, they had a band and then they lost the band and then they figured it out. Then they started, like, actually getting it together. And now they're going to be opening for, like, Paleface Swiss. And, like, they got this new song out that's just an absolute heater. And so, yeah, Through Blood is definitely worth checking out. Another band that's making big moves, Pool, just dropped their Skin Barber EP. This is when that they had they posted about, like, it took them a while to, like, save up the money in order to do it and stuff. And so so they finally got that out. Another band that's been waiting a while in order to get their EP out, Obliviate, who's from Northwest Arkansas. They just put out their new Dumpster Fire EP, and it is so brutal. This band is so talented, and I really hope to see them again in Central Arkansas because they are just absolutely killer. Another cool, like I had mentioned Little Rock Massacre a few times, they're going to be playing a lot of shows here in the next few months. They just put out a brand new song called To Burn a Witch, and it's an absolute heater. These are, like, this band, they're all very young, and their music is so beyond their years. It's so talented. It's so, like, good. And I'm extremely excited about this band's future. Thank you so much for watching. Go check out a show, go buy some merch, go, say something nice to a band, because all of those things matter, and they're the things that, as a musician, they keep us moving forward. So if you have something nice to say to somebody, do it, please. Also, please check out this week's Crashcast episode featuring Brandon Lee Hall of the Espionage Act. Even though he stole my name, I still love him. I think he's an absolutely incredible, talented drummer. He's played in some really cool bands. I think he's in Legends Heroes and the Espionage Act. This dude's played in a lot of cool bands, and he's an absolutely killer drum teacher. So check out his episode of the Crashcast. Also, be sure and go scroll through and check out other episodes of Crashcast. I got to do one with My Hands of War, and that was really fun. And so, and also go check out the Ringo Report on Instagram and Facebook every single day. If you see I've been posting these interviews. A lot of the bands that I've talked about on the episode today, I've interviewed for the show, or I've got interviews coming up. So, so stay tuned for that. I just want to say thank you again for everything. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.